live once again. We are live once again. Once again, we are live. Today we're going to talk about the Mounk Tounk situation and a few other YSL related things. I'm going to do this standing up today because I've been sitting down all week doing these lives and I am tired of sitting. We're going to try to do this as a standing live today. So we wait to get a few people in. Once you come in, please just go ahead and hit the like button. One, hit the subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and drop a comment. Good morning, Dav. Trial Paralegal Regina. Good morning. So, Trial Paralegal Regina, are you a trial paralegal? I would love to get a paralegal's take on some of these things that are happening here. Hold me tighter. We've been missing you. Haven't seen you in like 3-4 days now. Have not seen you in like 3 or 4 days. Janet Reed, morning. Ricky Fulton. I hate the way they set Mounk Tounk up. So this is what we're going to talk about, Ricky. This is what we're going to talk about. Because what I noticed is that people are saying they set Mounk Tounk up on one side. And there's a few voices that are saying Mounk Tounk, I'm not gonna say got off easy, but he didn't get things as badly as he could have gotten them. So that's one of the reasons I want to do this live and I want to talk about it. Sandra, is that Marin? Good morning. Yeah, she caught the live. Law and Trials. Woody next. Oh, that is a topic. Law and Trials, if I don't get to that topic, if I don't remember to just circle back around, spam the Woody next. Once we finish talking about Mounk Tounk, or once we're wrapping up the Mounk Tounk talk, spam that Woody next talk so that we can go to that topic. I might forget, but I do want to talk about it. So make sure y'all hold me accountable. Who agrees to 30 years probation? Y'all, I'm gonna talk about that in a sec. But what I wanted to do is just give a panorama of the way things are going right now. Okay. So this is the first thing I'm gonna show y'all. All right. Check out all of these shorts that we make. Okay. Check out all of these shorts. There's only one short out of all of these that you see, and y'all can't see the dislike ratio. I can. There's only one short out of all of these many provocative shorts. There's only one with a dislike ratio of over 10%. That's to say, of all of these many shorts, only one short has under a 90% like rate. And that's the one about Mounk Tounk. And literally, if you watch it,
an oath in court,
don't make any comments.
Needs to be taken. I actually view this much more akin to perjury, frankly, than a technical violation. And the sentence for
I don't make
perjury
any comments
is
on
up
this
to
short.
10 years. I am going to revoke 5 years of Mr. Sledge's probation. And Mr. Sledge, I am sympathetic to the
I don't say anything. There's no comment. There's no making fun of Mounk Tounk. It's not funny. You know, I don't do anything, but people are disliking this short more than any other, even though it's literally just presenting what happened. There's no commentary. There's nothing besides just showing what happened. I did put a title on it. I'm going to play it real quick so y'all can see.
An oath in court needs to be taken. I actually view this much more akin to perjury, frankly, than a technical violation. And the sentence for perjury is up to 10 years. I am going to revoke 5 years of Mr. Sledge's probation. And Mr. Sledge, I am sympathetic to the fact that you have generally stayed out of trouble, and I want to commend you for that. And I really hope that this revocation doesn't set you back. But we've got to take seriously the court system. So Thank you.
Might I ask, is it possible for my client to turn himself in to make arrangements?
I think y'all knew when you came in here that this was a strong possibility. So, no. An
Okay.
oath in court.
That's the entire short, y'all. As you can see, we didn't put any editorializing. We didn't, just show what happened. We did put this title on at the end because, of course, when you're looking at the short thumbnail, you have to know what it's about. So we put back to prison there, but nothing else. And we have, it's not terrible dislike rate, but people I think are just so upset about actually what happened. People are so upset, I think, about what happened that I think that they're disliking the short of showing it to show their displeasure. Why do I say that? Let's look at the comments. Let me see if I can make this bigger so y'all can see it. 1 second. See if I can make these comments bigger. Okay, there we go. Let's look at some of the comments on this short. We have 351 comments since last night. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these comments. She hopes it doesn't set him back. Really, he's about to lose his job and everything positive he was doing in life. So that comment that she made, I hope this doesn't set you back. Y'all, okay, I want to ask y'all in the chat, y'all. Now, I'm standing up, I'm moving around. I'm trying to stay nimble in this world. If I can't sit down all day. So y'all going to see my head moving around a lot. Sorry about that. I am going to try to get to these comments. I want to ask y'all a question. For the people who just watched that, do you feel that Judge Paige Whitaker was cold-hearted, neutral, or that she was trying to be compassionate? That's my question. Forget whether you agree, or for the moment, forget whether you agree or disagree with what she did. Try to get yourself to sense where her heart was. Where was her heart? When she was doing what she was doing, when she was giving him 5 years, do you sense that her heart was compassionate, cold-hearted, or just, hey, I'm just an officer of the court. I'm gonna do what I do. Deborah says cold-hearted all the way. Ms. E.T. says you can't disrespect the court system. So I guess that, where was her heart? Where was her heart, y'all? Dav says she was pretty fair, but where was her heart? Deborah Larson says she has no heart, cold-hearted. So, morning, Miss Lely. Good morning. Karen Jones says neutral. The reason I'm asking about her heart is this, because when she says, I hope this doesn't set you back, was that if she's cold-hearted, then when she says, I hope this doesn't set you back, that is sarcasm. That's sarcasm. That's if you're cold-hearted, it's like, hope it doesn't set you back. It's like, it's an extra dig at somebody that you just did something to. That's if you're cold-hearted. If you're doing it like you're really trying to be compassionate, then when you say, I hope this doesn't set you back, it sounds bad because you're giving them that penalty, but you're really saying it out of a compassionate place. And if you're neutral, then it's just words, right? It's just words. It's neither sarcasm nor like a true kind of compassionate thing. It's just, I'm just saying this. It's just coming out of my mouth. So Young says, cold-hearted. She don't want to let this case go no matter what. Let's see. Prayer changes fake heart because she wavers all the time. Suzanne says cold-hearted. Big Boom says strict but fair. And Simon says he should have told the truth. Okay, so I think the overwhelming amount of comments, people who take their time out of their day to actually comment, they disagree with what happened. So she hopes it doesn't set him back. I agree. I kind of agree with this comment in a sense. Saying I hope this doesn't set you back kind of doesn't help anybody, because her saying it is not going to help him, right? Because her using those words, I hope this doesn't set you back, that doesn't help his life at all. And if anything, 5 years in prison probably won't do the full 5. If state prison is what I understand, you do a percentage as long as but he's going to be in there 2-3 years or something like that, probably, right? Anybody who has some more information about how much of this time he might actually do, I'd appreciate it. Big Boom says no heart. Amy Dorsey says heartless, part of the corruption. Sandra, is that Marin, says I don't want harm, but you have to pay for your wrongs. Now, Critical Conversations HR. He had a horrible attorney. We're gonna get to that too. Okay. So first, I just wanted to go over some of these comments, y'all. All of y'all are commenting too, but you can see what other people have been saying on this short. State doesn't take the court system seriously. That is a huge sentiment. Probably the number one sentiment is you're justifying 5 years by saying you have to take this seriously, where the entire reason that this trial is as popular as it is the only reason that this trial is as popular as it is, it would have a certain level of popularity as in notoriety. There would be a certain level of notoriety due to Young Thug and him being an artist and so on and so forth. That would it would reach a certain peak of notoriety, which is probably pretty high. But it's gone way past just that due to this right here. Due to the fact that the people are so outraged at the way the state, the prosecution has been acting. So I think when she said we have to take this system seriously, the court system seriously, whatever her exact words were, I think probably 50% of people watching were like, are you serious? Like that the only reason I'm watching is because the state is not taking this seriously, right? Many people are only watching because they feel that way. Okay. So Critical Conversations, we'll come back and talk about his attorney. I'm trying to be somewhat professional, y'all. So I don't really want to throw people under the bus by calling them, an adjective like horrible. But I will say this, Mounk Tounk, he was stoic yesterday. No outbursts, no crying, no, judge, can I say something in my own defense? He was stoic. If you want to know what the word stoic means, look at Mounk Tounk yesterday. It means a person who during adversity can have a resolute face, be resolutely composed and take the good with the bad. And that's what we saw with Mounk Tounk. He was stoic, but that might have been the time not to be stoic. That might have been a time to throw that attorney under the bus, y'all. Like, you talking about 5 years of your life is on the line. That might have been a time not to be stoic. That might have been a time to point the finger at this guy like, yo, judge, this guy, you know what I'm saying? We'll get to that in a sec. Let's finish looking at the comments. Where's the same energy with the prosecution? Take the court seriously. While she's very lenient on the prosecutor, y'all see a pattern developing. That's a shame, Judge. You like the rest. Well, Miss Love, y'all see, right? Y'all see. You have no simply why you didn't throw the prosecutor in jail. Do I need to continue? So the sentiment that the people have built up, anecdotally, just looking at some of the first comments and a lot of what I've heard people say, a lot of comments across different platforms, X, verbally, that when I've been watching people comment on this on different programs, looking at our YouTube comments, people have been very upset with that in particular. We have to take this seriously. Now, we all know what Judge Whitaker was trying to get at, right? So let's be real, y'all. I mean, we all know that she's saying, if we just let you make a deal, saying that you will do something, and then you don't do it, then going forward, our credibility is hurt. We know that that's what Judge Whitaker wanted to say. She could have chosen her words better, but I don't know that Judge Whitaker is aware, she may or may not be aware of the level of public vitriol that there is, not necessarily against her personally, but against the prosecution. I don't know that she's aware of that because she doesn't seem to be that technologically adept. And in order for her to be aware of it, she'd have to really spend her time reading comments and stuff. And I'm pretty sure she's not doing that. Even if somebody were to tell her like, hey, you know, there's a lot of people watching this trial and they're very upset. That's not going to hit the same as if you just sit here and read these 351 comments that we have. If she were to sit here and read all these comments, she would say, okay, yes, something is going on here. Something's going on here. All right, y'all. So, so as you can see, the people are very upset. As you can see, the people are very upset about this. Let me put my phone on do not disturb because we have people who want to disturb me. All right. So as you can see, the people are very upset about this. We have a huge dislike, ratio. You know, still about 90% like, but people are upset about this. Now, let's talk about, I want to talk about two things. The real things I really wanted to talk about are, one, do we think Judge Whitaker's decision was fair or just? And two, I do want to talk about Mounk Tounk's attorney. Okay? I want to talk about, was Judge Whitaker's decision fair or just? And I want to talk about Mounk Tounk's attorney. Okay. Batty QB says her mind was made up. She didn't even try to hear real arguments. Okay. Batty QB, remember, Judge Whitaker was in the courtroom for the entire series of events that produced the probation revocation hearing. She was in the courtroom for the entire series of events that produced the probation revocation hearing. There was nothing new for her to hear except something that Mounk Tounk's attorney could produce that he, for some reason, didn't produce during the trial that could ameliorate what she had already seen. So let's just remember, this was not a Glanville situation where something happened before Glanville and now Whitaker is reviewing it. That's not what happened. Whitaker was the presiding judge over the moment of the offense. So she already had all the information in her mind. Now, is that fair? Could she be neutral? Could she be impartial? I don't know. She honestly, Mounk Tounk might have gotten less time, in my opinion. He might have gotten off easier. We never know. This is a counterfactual, right? This is a counterfactual. What would have happened if it had been, we don't know. Okay. So we can't necessarily go off into different timelines and see what would have happened. But he might, in my opinion, if I got to choose the judge, I'm choosing Whitaker, as opposed to another judge who's just going to review the record and then sentence me. Why is that? Because Whitaker is going to have a heart. Whitaker is going to have something of a heart, and she saw firsthand that my attorney did not advise me correctly. She saw firsthand that my attorney was not up to par. So she is going to probably take it a little bit easier on me than another judge who's just going to be reading some transcripts and stuff, but who wasn't there to see it and feel it. Okay. So my opinion, the idea of her mind being made up, I do agree with you because she was there. So she already had a prejudgment. Did that work for or against Mounk Tounk? I'm going to argue that nobody could possibly know. But if I had to say, if I had to put my weight on one side or the other, I would say her having her mind made up worked for him more so than against him because he was not getting off. There is no judge that was going to review this record and say, oh, you know, I can see how you might have got confused and thought you were going to be able to explain. We'll stick with no, there was no judge that was going to do that. Okay. There was no judge that was about to let Mounk Tounk slide. Now, I'm not stating whether I think something should have happened. I'm simply saying the criminal justice system being the way that it is, he was going to get some time because the record showed what it showed. Oh, by the way, that's not that Miss Lily, thank you. That's not the correct link, but I will put it in the chat. Y'all, we are paralegal school. Okay. I didn't mean for this to be a commercial, but since Miss Lily is doing us the favor, I'll put the paralegal certificate program in the chat. All right. So let me see here. I don't agree. She sent a message to any other witnesses. 5 years was too much. Again, I'm not giving my opinion on the penalty. I'm giving my opinion on whether he would have gotten a worse penalty with another judge. Because remember, you have two things that are happening. One, does he get a penalty? And then two, if he does, what is the penalty? So my question, my answer to the first question is, does he get a penalty? I think every judge gives him some kind of penalty. So I don't think he gets out of a penalty. Now, there's a should factor. Like you could say, should he get a penalty? But I'm not dealing with the should. I'm dealing with what is likely to happen. And I'm saying that any judge that reviews this case is probably going to give him something. Okay, I'm not saying they should. I'm saying that they probably would. Then you say, well, how much time would they give him? I am saying, in my opinion, I think that Judge Whitaker, with her having been there, is taking it lighter on him than another judge likely would have. And the reason why is because she saw with her own eyes and she felt with her human feelings that he wasn't trying to do anything malicious, that he wasn't trying to jack up the trial, that he didn't go in there with the cocky attitude like I'm about to take this whole trial down. He wasn't hostile. Usually he was cooperative. He came back and he apologized when he and Love got testy. He came back and he apologized to the court. So I think that Whitaker saw all that, and that just as a human, she took it into account. And though she did give him 5, which is a very difficult penalty, she could have given him up to 30. Okay. So you compare 5 with 30 and, all right. So let's see here. Let's go to everything works for good of those who love God. He will be fine. Let's hope. Let's hope. We did have footage of him in church with Woody. Let's hope that he has I would think this would be, if any time, this would be a time to have a spiritual basis. Again, he was stoic in there. He looked like he was composed. Maybe he knows he's backed up by a higher power. Let's certainly hope that for him. So I'm going to give you all my opinion. I'm going to give you all my personal take. So up until now, I've been telling you my opinion on what would have happened, blah, blah, blah. This is my take. This is my personal take. This is my personal take on everything that happened. Let's take it from the first step. Mounk Tounk was arrested and facing 30 years. So let's not start from yesterday. Let's start from the beginning of this saga for him. He was arrested. He's facing 30 years. He had already done crimes that he had done time for, but now he has new charges, and those new charges have 30 years on the table. He's in jail. He's going to go to trial. According to him, his mom is sick. He needs to get out of jail quickly. He's been held for 7-8 months or what have you, okay? So I want y'all to think about this. He's in jail. He's facing 30 years. He has family issues that require immediate attention, okay? But he's facing 30 years. That's what's on the table. So he has 2 routes he can take. I can fight these charges that I don't have money to fight. Remember, his attorney said he didn't have the money to pay me. So I can fight these charges that I don't have money to fight. I can lose and I can get 30 years. Or I can sign this piece of paper that says I will testify. I can get free for a little while. And when it's time to testify, I can make a decision if I stick with this piece of paper or if I say something else, but I'm going to get free now. So I can sign the paper. I can get free now. And when it comes time for me to say what I got to say, I can make that decision, and I can either go back into the route of this 30 years if I say this, or I can stay free if I say that. I can stay free if I say that, but I'll have that choice at that moment, and they might not even call me, but they probably will. But they might not even call me. But in the meantime, I'm free. So yeah, I'm going to sign this paper. I'm going to be free. I'm going to be out here and I'm going to be about. I'm going to be out and about. Maybe they don't call me. 10% chance they don't call me. 90% chance they are going to call me. But when I get up to the stand, I still have the choice to either stipulate to all of this stuff and stay free, or I could, try to do my juke move and maybe I stay free. Maybe they give me something. So if you think about it from that perspective, Mounk Tounk, and I'm not saying this in any derogatory way, he played the game. He played the hand the best that he could play it. Because, he only got 5 years. I mean, I'm not saying only like it's a little bit of time. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying only 5 like, 5 is nothing. 5 is a lot. But I'm saying if he had not signed the paper, he was going to do 30. If he hadn't signed the paper, he was going to stay locked up and he was going to do 30. He signed the paper. He got out for a while and he got 5, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. That is a lot. He just had a grandbaby born. He has another one on the way. He's been turning his life around. That's a lot of time, but it's definitely not a lot compared to 30. It's definitely not a lot compared to 30. Okay? So my point is, Mounk Tounk, if you look at it from the perspective of his decision making, he actually made the best decisions he could make at the time, up into the trial. Then he got to decide, do I stay free and just say what they want me to say? Or do I risk it and say what I want to say? He decided to risk it and he didn't get the 30 that was on top of him. He got 5. So 5 is tough. 5 is tough. 5 is tough, y'all. Okay, so nobody come away from this saying I minimized 5. 5 is tough. Okay? 5 is tough. If he has to do that full 5, that's tough. I've never been to prison. Okay, so I'm certainly not minimizing 5. But I think any person comparing get out of jail today, spend a year plus free, go to trial, you get to decide what you want to say. And if you say this, you can actually guarantee your own freedom. And if you say that, you risk it. But the most they could give you is what you was going to get in the first place, which is 30. He risked it. They didn't give him the 30. They gave him 5. So I'm not minimizing the what we saw yesterday. I'm not minimizing his getting locked up. I'm not minimizing the dramatic images of them just taking him directly into custody. It was heartbreaking for him. It was heartbreaking for him. It was heartbreaking for it was honestly kind of heartbreaking for the trial because this is the first time. Well, they did lock Woody up too. I mean, they locked Woody up, but he wasn't going to do 5. They locked Woody up for a weekend. They locked Brian Steele up. So when you keep seeing people get locked up, if you feel like Thug and the co-defendants should beat this case, if for no other reason than prosecutorial misconduct, every time you see somebody get locked up associated with this trial, it makes you feel like, dang, people getting locked up. They make you feel like, whoa, this is real. People getting locked up. Then you see, but usually it's been jail so far. Now you see somebody about to go do 5, and it's like, dang, this is really real. This is really real. So it's heartbreaking. I had, everybody felt it. I felt it. I still feel it. And I don't even know him. That's the wild thing about it. I didn't even know who Mounk Tounk was 4 months ago. I had never heard that name before. I didn't even really know. I didn't know what he looked like until he took the stand. But seeing that happen to him is heartbreaking. So, we all feel it. We all feel it, right? But y'all got to remember something. And this is a thing that this is kind of the reason I wanted to let's talk about it right now. This is one of the big things. Mounk Tounk is not no spring chicken, y'all. Mounk Tounk knew when he got on that stand that he could either say this and stay free, or he could say that. Get my hand in the camera. Or he could say that and risk it. He knew this. This was a calculated risk. So him saying that he's not, he has a 10th grade education or 9th grade education, blah, blah, blah. This man is street smart. He's been to prison. He has a lawyer. He's 40-something years old. He's been in the system for probably half his life or more. He knew when he took that stand, if I say this, I'm risking it. And if I say that, I'm risk-free. He knew that. So while we feel bad for him and his outcome, we also want to remember that he knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. How old is he? 42 right now? He'll be 47 when he gets out. So hopefully he probably won't do the full 5, right? If he can go in there, he can stay free of trouble. I think they say federal, you have to do 85% of your time. State, you probably have to do less. I'm not going to put an estimate on it. If anybody knows, let me chat GPT this real quick. Chat GPT knows a lot of this stuff, y'all. I'm going to chat GPT it. A person who gets sentenced to 5 years in Georgia for probation violation, what is the amount of time that's likely that they will actually serve if they don't have any additional offenses while incarcerated? Let's see what GPT says, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all right here real quick here. Georgia parole consideration for many offenders after serving 1/3 of their sentence, in that case, 1.5 to 2 years. So under 3 years. Yeah, nonviolent, 50%. So under 3 years, y'all, which again, 2.5 years of your time as a 40-something-year-old man, that's a lot of time. If you're 18 and you do 2.5 years, it's still a lot. It's the same amount of time, but your life, is different, I would imagine. So yeah, this is serious. You kind of feel like she could have given him 18 months or something, and I think people would have felt a lot. They wouldn't have felt as strongly. They would have felt bad for him, but it wouldn't have been the same reaction. She had given him 18 months. He gonna get out in 9 or something. It'd have been like, Mounk Tounk, this is real. But she wanted to send a message, which she did do. So y'all, so overall, my opinion of this, 5 years is a lot. It was heartbreaking to see him locked up there on the spot. That is, I think, what caused the emotional reaction with a lot of us to literally, you saw the deputies moving when she was talking. And this is also what makes and anybody who's not on here, who's not Black, don't take this as a slight to you. But I think, let me not even just limit it to Black people. Anybody who's ever could imagine yourself as being the victim of a system that's just much bigger than you. You saw those deputies moving into position, and it's like, dang, she didn't even, you know what I'm saying? It's like, dang, you know what I mean? And I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just you can't do anything because the deputies were moving, and he knew. And the deputies are just starting to, and it's like, dang, man. It's like, you feel it. And then, but he was stoic, and they, they put those cuffs on him. And I think people just seeing him like that, you could see his face kind of drop as she was talking because you saw where this was going. You know what I mean? Yeah, your heart dropped. Everybody's heart dropped. If you have a heart, it dropped. You heard 5 years, which was, let's be honest, 5 years was the number that was literally the beginning of a lot. If she had said 4 years, it probably wouldn't have sounded that bad. And if she had said 15 years, it would have just been terrible. It would have been like fall out your seat bad. 5 years is like the lowest number. That's a lot of time. You know what I mean? It's like the least amount of a lot. A lot starts at 5 when you're just on a probation violation. Y'all, by the way, please do hit the like button. Please do hit the like button. We have 423 people. I appreciate everybody. If you are not subscribed to us, please do subscribe. If you haven't hit the like, just hit the like. It takes only a moment. So my opinion, y'all, overall, just giving y'all some perspective from my point of view, Mounk Tounk, at the moment of signing and agreeing to the deal, he got out of prison, out of jail. He got out of jail that day, or I imagine, or very soon thereafter, right? So it's like he's playing chess, y'all. He was playing chess. He was playing his best moves. He was going to get 30 years, people. Y'all understand that? If he hadn't signed that paper, he's going away for 30 straight. So he's like, I might as well sign the paper no matter what it says, because I'll get out. I'll be free for a year or so, or whatever it is. And then when I get to the stand, then I can make my decision what I'm actually going to say. And the worst they could do is give me the 30 I'm going to get anyway. All right. If I don't get it, if you're saying I don't get it, Rio, please tell me what I don't get, okay? If you're talking to me. Okay? Me. Thank you for becoming a new member. Y'all rock with the membership. Come on. Rock with the membership. So once he gets to the stand, he gets to make his decision what he's going to say. He could say what's on his heart and go ahead back in that direction of the 30 that they wanted to give him either way. Or he could say what they want him to say, and he could stay free. So he played the cards the best way they could have been played up until his testimony. And at that part, it's just staying true to yourself. So he is getting 5 years for telling the truth, which a lot of people said yes. He's getting 5 years in order. So he took the 5 so that he could tell his truth. He took the 5 so that he could tell his truth, y'all. He took the 5 as a penalty to be able to express himself. Now, why was he penalized? Because he had signed that paper. A lot of people like, he shouldn't have signed it. Heck yeah, he should have signed that paper. I mean, I'm not talking about the snitching aspect of it. That I don't get into snitching. I don't care about snitching. I don't talk about snitching. I'm not a snitching type of opinion. So forget that. I'm saying from his perspective, I do care about snitching. I mean, I do think in certain situations snitching is wrong, but I'm not one of these guys calling people a snitch and stuff. That's not my angle. My angle is, you talking about getting out of jail, we just saying for the purposes of getting out of jail, all else being equal, you sign that paper. But now that paper was throwing his friends under the bus. Like, let's be real. That paper was throwing his friends under the bus. But that's not my angle I'm talking about right now. Just talking about personally getting out of jail. You sign the paper and you say, I'm going to be free now. And then when I come back in here, at that point, I've gotten months of... Yo, I'm going to give y'all one more thing. And then I'm going to read this from Cammie Phillips. I want y'all to think about this. I'm about to give y'all a whole new perspective that I haven't heard anybody say. I've been alluding to this whole time, but I'm going to say it now. If you about to get 30 years, if you 40 years old, you about to get 30. And yeah, you might only have to serve half of that, but you're going to be in there for 15 years. Who knows what's going to happen while you in there. You 40 years old, you about to get 30. Or you could sign a piece of paper, get a year out and free, and then go do your 30. Are you going to just stay in jail and do the straight 30? Or you're going to sign this piece of paper, get out, get to walk around, get to be with your family, and then go take the stand and say some stuff, and then go do your 30. Which one sounds preferable? Doing 30 doesn't sound good no matter which way you slice it. But do you want to be locked up and just stay straight for your 30? Or you want to sign a piece of paper, get out, be free for a while, then go take the stand, say some stuff, and then start your 30 from that point forward. Okay? Which of the two is preferable? Does that make sense? So I'm saying I'm really speaking more from the Mounk Tounk perspective. Okay. Let me read this super sticker. Hold up. Sorry about that. Cammie Phillips says, do you think if his lawyer would have had Mounk Tounk family come show support, maybe speak to the judge on his behalf, he could have gotten an even lighter sentence? I feel the lawyer was bad. I don't know that was possible, but yeah, I think if I don't know that was possible. But if it had been possible and it had happened, yeah, I think that could have. Y'all are saying y'all think Paige has a cold heart. I don't think so. I'm sorry if y'all hate me for this. I don't take Judge Whitaker as a cold-hearted killer of a judge from what I've seen so far. Is she the most compassionate? Is she the most lenient? 100% no. But I do think she has a heart, y'all. I think she has a heart, and I think that's why it was to his benefit that he got her. Because another judge would not have been there to see all of the confusion surrounding this back and forth with his lawyer, and he could have gotten more. He could have gotten... Y'all, when they read off his rap sheet, and this is something I'm not going to touch, I'm not going to dive into this, but when they read off his rap sheet, there was some stuff that they said on that rap sheet that people have not repeated, but in the chat, in the moment, people were like, oh, he got that stuff on his sheet. Oh, well, then it is what it is. Now, after that moment and after the chat, nobody's come back around to mention some of the stuff that they mentioned on his rap sheet. But when they were reading off that rap sheet, there were a couple of one or two little points where it's like, oh, didn't know he had that on his rap sheet. So what's my point? My point is, a judge reading that rap sheet without having seen the trial, without having been there, just looking at this person as a rap sheet and a set of charges, they could have said, oh, no, we're going to give you 10. We're going to give you 15. I don't think anybody's going to give him the full 30. But could he have gotten 7? Could he have gotten 10? Could he have gotten more? 100% with a different judge who's just looking at him as not as a human that was just in their courtroom, but as a rap sheet and a set of new charges. Heck yeah, he could have gotten more. So I do think Judge Paige had some compassion on him. 5 years is a lot. I'm going to keep saying it because I don't want anybody to misunderstand me. Like I'm saying it's a little bit. It's not a little bit. It is a lot, but the scale went up to 30, y'all. So we have to keep that in perspective. So Cammie, thank you so much for the $9.99. I definitely appreciate it. And yes, I think if his family could have come in, they might have gotten more compassion from Judge Paige. That's possible. I think that's possible. I don't know for sure that it was even a possibility that the family would come in. But if they did, and if they had been allowed, I think there's a possibility. I don't think it was much of a possibility she was going to go much below 5, though. Maybe if he had gotten, a little bit knocked off of that, that's possible, I think. Miss Lee, as Miss Lily said, please do like, please do subscribe. Please do like, please do subscribe. So he played his cards the best. Y'all got to understand, this man was in jail, y'all. He had serious charges on him with 30 years in prison over his head. He had one good option, which is to sign a piece of paper and get out of jail. To walk the earth as a free man for as long as he could until they called him. To make the decision at the moment that they called him what direction he wanted to go. And if he decided to go in a direction where he's repudiating some of his statements, to still hope that might not land him back in jail. He played the cards the best he could, and it resulted him in not getting 30. So what I feel like people are not getting is this. He literally just did an end around and got out of 30 that he was certain to get, got 5, and got to be free in the meantime. So while the 5 sucks, compared with the certain 30 that he was faced with no freedom in the meantime, he literally he didn't get off easy, but he definitely got a much better deal. He got a much better deal with the way he did it. Now it's time to do the 5 or whatever percentage he has to do. It sucks. I personally wish it hadn't gone like that. But looking at it globally, he still came out with a much better deal than if he had just taken that 30, that they were trying to give him off the top. Thug's going to get off. Shannon and Yak are done. I don't know about the others. I don't think they've presented the evidence, enough evidence for me to see that either one of them should be. All right. Dav, yeah, signing paper wasn't helping Thug at all. Yeah, no. Now, that's the snitch angle that I don't go into, y'all, okay? But that paper, y'all, you know what, though? If you remember yesterday, he did repudiate or try to modify a bunch of the numbers, but the top factual acknowledgement that he didn't want to was the Donovan Thomas. Y'all, so if you one of these bloggers or podcasters or whatever, or people who talk about the snitch angle, you have a lot of material here. Okay, you have a lot of material here with what that paper said, that he signed it and all that stuff. That's just not my angle. But I agree. That paper, just the fact he signed it is tough for the defendants. So there's no doubt about that. Okay. It's tough. He signed because of matters of the heart. Yeah, Shelly Ann, I agree with that. He signed because of matters of the heart. However, you cannot diminish the fact that paper was drawn up by the prosecutor to prosecute his friends. So, like, if you just take what is the paper is a document that a prosecutor who wants to put your friends in jail drew up with the purposes of putting your friends in jail. So when you sign it, it's not like Sledge didn't draw it up. He didn't carefully craft it. Like, yeah, no, the prosecutor drew it up. He signed it. So 100%, that's tough. 100%, that's tough. Critical conversations. Unfortunately, his attorney exhibited a lack of due diligence in how he reviewed later versions of the plea agreement. His work was sloppy at best. Financial resources matter in criminal justice. Let's talk about this now. Thank you for the $10 critical conversations. I appreciate it. Everybody, please hit the like. Everybody, please subscribe if you're not subscribed. This is a good time to go into that, y'all. Critical conversations. Let me tell you something. Y'all, like a lot of people will come on here and just bash people. That's not my thing. Okay. So I don't bash Miss Love. I don't bash Miss Hilton. I don't bash Fonnie Willis. I don't bash anybody. I might offer an opinion, something I don't like, but I don't bash people. But if I'm Mounk Tounk, I would have thrown this guy under the bus, y'all. I would have thrown this guy under the bus. And I felt it was his attorney's responsibility yesterday to take the fall himself. I felt that the attorney should have at least at some point taken part of the blame. Your Honor, I just want to say before you sentence my client that it was my responsibility to review this paperwork. It was my responsibility to advise my client. I feel that somewhere along the line, I did something tremendously wrong, and now he's going to have to pay the penalty. I request humbly that you will take this into account and significantly reduce whatever considered penalty, because at the end of the day, I am the one who let him down. That was his responsibility right there. We've all seen it. We saw it with our own eyes. So him saying it, who knows if it would have helped, but he needed to say that. He needed to go on record. But see, he kind of did a CYA moment. Critical conversations. Did you notice? Let me see if I can find this. Did y'all notice at the time he said, well, the prosecution, they didn't properly prepare my client. What? If you notice he's not properly prepared, you need to tell them, hey, before he goes out there, I need y'all to prepare him better. He's not their client. So if you can't come after the fact when he's about to get 5 years or more and say they didn't properly prepare him. Okay, they didn't properly prepare him. Why didn't you say at that time, I don't feel he's properly prepared? So again, I'm not going at this Mr. Wright. I'm not saying he's a bad attorney. I'm not saying anything about him personally. I'm saying about what we saw as his professional representation in this situation. Okay? His professional presentation and representation in this situation, I felt he should have done more. But he wanted to blame. Let me see if I can load this up, y'all. Hold up. Let me see if I can load this part up where he's
deciding what the penalty should be as it relates to.
Let's see.
I guess to some degree, while it's not clearly akin to a substantive versus technical violation of probation, it is a non-violent, non-new offense kind of violation. And I would say if the court is going to violate my client, it would be more germane to treat it as a technical violation. We have expressed to the court different thoughts and reasons for the way the testimony came out. We don't know what effect, if any, one way good or one way bad, that has had. But in terms of his violation, I would ask the court treat it more as a technical. He has one grandchild on the way, one that just came.
Y'all knew when he started talking about grandchildren, you knew it wasn't looking good. Once you start talking about that, it's not looking good.
With Ms. Jaquila Freeman. So the point is, he has been staying out of the way. He's been complying with probation. I would ask the court to maybe consider if you want to put more restrictions and make his probation much more of a, not just something he's on, but something that now has more teeth to it because he's been working. He's been taking care of his family. He's staying out of trouble. He's turned that corner. And literally, it was always our hope he wouldn't have to come in and testify. And there was a reason the state allowed this plea to go forward so that he could step away. And in doing so, if you recall, you may have remember from his testimony, by no fault of his, he was a victim of a crime. Where he
Law and Trials, you said Mounk Tounk didn't take his lawyer's advice. Would you specify, please, the advice he didn't take? I'm not doubting what you're saying. I just don't know what you're referring to. Please specify. Overall, he's pissed. They pissed he didn't comply like Woody and Lil D. Remember, Woody and Lil D were not arrested. Woody and Lil D got arrested as a part of the testimony process. Mounk Tounk was arrested for charges outside of this trial. Well, not outside of the indictment, but he was arrested as part of this RICO. Woody and Lil D, they weren't facing any prison time. They both have done their time. It's difficult to compare Mounk Tounk, who took a plea deal, with Woody and Lil D, who they didn't have any pending charges. So they don't have the same situation. Remember, Woody and Lil D were arrested as witnesses to the trial. Woody was arrested as a witness who pled the fifth while he had immunity. Lil D was arrested as a material witness. Mounk Tounk was not arrested as a witness. Mounk Tounk was in jail already as a defendant. And then he got out due to a plea deal. And the reason he got arrested yesterday was not as a witness. He got arrested as a probation violation. So the scenarios cannot be compared. You can kind of compare Lil D and Woody a little bit because they're both on the witness stand. Mounk Tounk was a witness, true, but his arrest didn't have to do with him being a witness. Okay, so it's a little bit different. Law and trials, telling the truth on the stand and cooperating with the agreement. Listen, law and trials. Yesterday, his attorney
Shot multiple times.
Says that he felt he could come up onto the stand and explain. His attorney said that. So it sounds to me like his attorney, that's his advice.
And I had to recover from that. So we would ask the type of violation, asking again.
And he under
Let me.
some.
I asked, is it possible
Okay.
for my
I don't know exactly where it is, but his attorney also mentioned that he thought he could come on the stand and explain. So while I don't necessarily, I'm not disagreeing with you, law and trials, it may be that he did not follow his attorney's advice properly. The question still has to be, was the advice on point 100%? And it seems like it wasn't. His attorney didn't even realize that number 8 was added to the agreement, neither in writing nor verbally. Come on, like you can't. There literally is no way to get around it. There's no way to get around it, law and trials. You missed it when it was written, and you missed it when they said it to you. You missed it twice in 2 different mediums, verbal and written. There is no excuse for that. There's simply no excuse for it. That is, I mean, again, I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but there's no excuse for missing a factual acknowledgement that you specifically don't want to acknowledge, that you don't want to stipulate to, and they give it to you in 2 different mediums and you miss it 2 different times. There's no excuse for that, in my opinion. It's just not, there's nothing that you can say. Woody and Lil D are the, okay, so that's the angle I don't take, Rio. If that's your opinion, you're certainly free to it. You're open to it. I don't like talking about ratting, snitching, etc., etc. Just not my angle. Not my angle, y'all. I've never been to prison. I've never been arrested. I've never been involved in any kind of criminal conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I don't have a dog in the fight because it's just not my life. It's not my life. It's not something I'm experienced with or that I have any kind of background with. So I don't really comment on the ratting angle. I can say that factual acknowledgement was bad for YSL, for his friends, though. I mean, the whole point of the factual acknowledgement was to be bad for the other defendants. So that's clear. Law and trial says that's one question. I guess you're talking about the number 8. Yeah, number 8. And the judge did absolutely say that there were other factual acknowledgments that he also disputed. But remember, his attorney yesterday said that he thought he could explain. So even still, if your attorney's telling you can explain, and then you get up there and just say what's in your head, and that goes against the factual acknowledgement, that's still bad advice. Your attorney has to say, do you plan to go up there and explain? Yes, I do. Okay, well, let's run down all of these factual acknowledgments, and I want you to explain to me so I can tell you whether this explanation may get you in trouble. You can't just tell him, yeah, you can go up there. Just make sure you say yes and then explain. Because he said yes and then he explains in some way that the prosecution thinks he shouldn't, and he's in this situation. So you really have to, you can't just say, yeah, you have to say yes and then you can explain. You have to prepare him as to how he's going to explain. For every one of those factual acknowledgments, and for the final part, I believe it was the sentencing agreement or something. You have to prepare him for every one of those answers, and for it to be abundantly clear that what you just told me, you can say it this way if you want, but you could be putting yourself at risk. Okay, so just telling somebody, and I don't know that they didn't do that, but his attorney never said, I prepared him to give his explanations. The attorney just said, they said he could explain. Well, did you help him? Did you help him know how to explain it in a legally safe way? That's your job. All right. Miss Alien, Stan. Only person that could have saved Mounk Tounk is the Ashley Merchant attorney. She would have found something on the judge. His attorney find a PO. The camera crew got him off. Y'all, Mounk Tounk. Y'all, this is the whole thing. Mounk Tounk saved himself, y'all. He is safe. I mean, going to prison, I don't know what his conditions are going to be, but from the perspective of going to prison for 30 years straight from jail, or going to prison for 5 years and having a gap year where you're out and about, you would feel safe if you were about to go, you're in jail, and they about to just keep you in there for the next 30 years. Or if they say, yo, you can get out for 5 years, you can get out for a year, walk around, do what you got to do, get all your affairs in order, and then you're going to have to do 5. You still got to do 5. That's still a lot of time. That still sucks. But you definitely just dodged a huge bullet. You dodged a huge 30-year bullet where you were going to go straight from jail to prison. Now you got out for a year. You moved around. You did whatever you needed to do. Now you're going to go do 5. It's tough, but you certainly dodged a huge bullet. And I'm saying this as a person who, again, never been to prison, but I'm just saying it from the perspective of counting 30 versus 5. All right, y'all. He's not even going to do 5. He'll probably be out in 12 to 16 months. That's what we were saying. He'll probably be out in under 3 years. I don't know if it's 12 to 16. It's certainly, I don't know how they calculate that. But so, y'all, I just wanted to come on here and give my opinion. So if I have to summarize it, key points. 1, watching Mounk Tounk get locked up yesterday was dramatic. It was sad. It was impactful. There's nothing that I want to say or at all that should be construed as minimizing that. Being sentenced to 5 years is a lot of times, particularly as a 40-year-old man. So I felt it just like everybody else, and I feel bad for him. I imagine he's in there right now. I don't know his mental or emotional state, but I imagine it's not as good as it would be if he were out. I was hoping that would not happen to him. Okay. I was hoping that would not happen to him. So that is the impact of yesterday. The globally speaking is he still didn't get 30. He still got to get out of jail for a year. And he, as a street smart guy who's been in the system, knew the risk he was taking. He, as a street smart guy, when he got on that stand with legal representation, he knew the risk he was taking. He did not know, what he didn't know probably is that his attorney was not going to give him the best representation the representation he deserved. His attorney, he didn't know his attorney was not going to give him the representation he deserved. If he had more effective counsel, would he have made different decisions? Would he have avoided this? It's quite possible. It's quite possible. So overall, I definitely hope the best for Mounk Tounk. It sounds kind of patronizing after the judge said something similar yesterday. But the one takeaway I really took away from the 2 takeaways is Mounk Tounk knew what he was doing. And 2, I thought that lawyer should have spoken up more and taken more of the blame. I think Mounk Tounk knew what he was doing, but I also think the lawyer should have spoken up more and taken more of the blame. I think if the lawyer had taken more of the blame, he might have gotten Mounk Tounk off a little bit easier. He would have been putting his own career at risk. So, we can see people looking out for number one here. But I thought the lawyer should have spoken more forcefully in front of the judge. Judge, please don't punish my client for my mistake. Please don't punish my client for my that would have been risky for the lawyer. They're not going to put him in jail, but yeah, could he possibly face sanction? Could he possibly face a significant drop in clientele? Could he face people wanting to switch lawyers who are working with him right now? You know, all that stuff if he had done it. So it would have been a big deal for him to say that. But I think it was his responsibility. Maybe he doesn't feel that way. I don't know. But I feel that way watching things outside looking in. Okay. Ultimately, paralegal, I would agree with you very sadly. Yeah. So he broke the plea deal. Come on. Listen, that's why I keep saying he knew what he was doing. At no point during this entire harangue that I'm saying today did I say I don't think he broke the plea deal. So I don't know if you're saying that to me or other people in the comments. He absolutely broke the plea deal. 100%. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. He broke the plea deal. I'm actually saying he knew he was breaking the plea deal. He's a street smart guy. He knew he was breaking a plea deal. Okay? So there's no doubt that he knew he was breaking the plea deal. All right? And I'm also not saying that there shouldn't be any penalty for breaking a plea deal. 30 years would have been excessive. 5 years feels like it's on the high end of 5 years. Sounds like it should be the max for what happened. And it seems like he got the max for what happened. Even though 30 was the actual max, seems like 5 should have been the max and he should have gotten something less. But I'm not saying he didn't break the deal. Of course he broke the deal. Of course he broke the deal. Is that Ione Clark? He thought he was being smart. Is that Lonnie? He was being smart. Instead of getting 30 years straight from jail, he got 5 years with the gap year. That's not smart. And he didn't have to tell on his friends. I mean, he kind of did. He did like a half tell. So he got to get out of jail, avoid 30 years, get a gap year out and about, and then he got 5 instead of 30. That's not smart. If that's not smart, I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm not saying it's smart, but it's certainly a good move if you could pull it off. It's certainly a good move if you could pull it off. His attorney will be, yeah. I definitely think that his attorney, if I was looking at this guy, I'm not gonna say anything else. I don't want to be seen as going at people that I don't know. So I'm not gonna say anything else about that. 30-year probation is still prison in many ways. Try living with random testing reporting. Yeah, no. 30 years. But y'all, he was facing, that's the thing, he was facing that 30 in prison. He was facing 30 years in prison. Y'all, this is Miss Lily. She is one of our 2 mods. I guess Andre's not here today. Let me put the banner on so we can give Miss Lily her shine. Thank y'all for watching our live stream today. Miss Lily is one of our 2 mods. She's usually here on stream. I am streaming during the day, during the trial right now, meaning Monday through Friday. So y'all do hit the like, do hit the subscribe. And I want to thank y'all for being with me today, this morning. I just wanted to talk about this. I wanted to kind of put my point of view out there. Y'all will notice I'm usually a moderate with almost everything. Politics, I'm usually more of a moderate. These types of debates, these types of conversations, I'm usually more of a moderate. I don't like to get into more controversial topics that I don't have experience with, like snitching, ratting, and all that sort of thing. That's not my thing. People saying Woody's next. Law and trials, before I go, I'm gonna wait just for you and anybody else who's saying Woody's next. I'm gonna wait for you and anybody else who want to say Woody's next. Give me something specific. What is gonna happen legally to Woody next? Because Woody is, I don't know if he's on probation currently. But what is it that you feel that's gonna happen to Woody next? I'm under what oath am I under? We got you, Granny. What oath am I under? Great live stream. We love to see more videos where you speak and offer more. Thank you. Thank you. So y'all, on the videos that I make during the week, I don't offer a lot of commentary because people actually would be like, why are you talking so much? So I actually started talking less and less and less. And now I just do like an opening intro for like 60 seconds max. And I don't say anything else. Because like in the comments, people are like, why do you keep on talking? You know, like I thought y'all wanted to. I'll probably just start making some commentary videos for members. People who like hearing my commentary, who like my personality, who like my voice. I think I'm going to start making some videos, like just a bunch of members only videos, so that if you want to see it, you can access that. I like talking. Law and crime. Was it law and crime? I'm waiting for you or anybody to tell me what is going to happen to Woody. People keep saying Woody's next. Next, how? What's going to happen to Woody? What is going to happen to Woody? I haven't seen anybody say what that means. I agree. Would love to see more live streams, well, especially since you have legal knowledge. Well, I'm live streaming every day. I'm live streaming during the trial. I'm live streaming. If you notice, this video, I made this video.
Himself in to make arrangements.
I think y'all knew when you came in
This is
here
from
that
the-
this was a strong possibility.
This is from the
No,
the trial.
I'm sorry.
This video is from the trial. We were on yesterday. We were on from 8:30 until whatever 5 o'clock whenever this ended. So y'all, I don't know for sure what people think is going to happen to Woody. Woody, as far as I know, unless something happened over the last day or two, as far as I know, Woody is not under any kind of indictment or anything right now. Let something happen over the last day or two. OU Jazzy says Woody has immunity. Let me explain to y'all. Let me give y'all a quick understanding of what this immunity means. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a quick understanding of what this immunity means. Hold Me Tighter says Woody's safe. That's kind of true, but not 100%. I'm about to tell y'all what Woody's immunity means. They wanted Woody to come to the stand and talk. They being the prosecution. Woody said, I'm going to plead the fifth. I'm not talking. So you have two opposing forces. We want you to talk. I don't want to talk. So what did they do? They gave him, I don't even want to say gave him. They forced on him because he didn't accept it. He didn't have to accept it. This was a forced thing. This is something that they can do to you without your agreement. They can say immunity, and now you have it. It's like, remember y'all, you would do like, oh, you got the cooties or you got the touch. You just touch somebody, now they have it. Like they touched him with the immunity touch. Now he has it. He can't get rid of it. But what does that immunity mean? See, a lot of times people think immunity means you can't be prosecuted for a crime. In Woody's case, y'all, that is not correct. I want everybody who's hearing me right now to totally understand what I'm saying. Immunity for Woody does not mean he can't be prosecuted for any crime. Every crime he's committed that is that's not outside of the statute of limitation, he can be prosecuted for, even now with his immunity. I'm going to repeat. He can be prosecuted for every crime that he's committed that's not barred by the statute of limitations. So if he committed a crime back in 2015 and it's still, the statute of limitation has not run on it, or there is no statute of limitation, he can be prosecuted today for that crime. So you might say, I thought he had immunity. I thought that meant he can't be prosecuted. That's not what it means. What Woody's immunity means, and there are different types of immunity. So we're going to talk about the type of immunity that Woody has, called use immunity. What his immunity says is that when you get on the stand and you start talking, whatever you say, we can't use it against you. That's all it means. Well, I shouldn't say that's all it means. That's the first thing it means. Whatever you say, we can't use it against you. Okay? Whatever you say on the stand, we can't use it against you. So let's say, let's get rid of Woody because he's sensitive about people talking about his crimes. I might meet Woody one day. I want us to be cool. So let's not talk Woody. Let's talk about a guy named Tootie. Tootie committed a crime 10 years ago, let's say. And he gets immunity today. He goes on stand and he starts talking about this crime from 10 years ago. They can't use his words against him. But you know what? If they find a videotape of him committing that crime 10 years ago, they can prosecute him with the videotape. They just won't be able to say, well, he got on the stand and admitted to it. They couldn't use the words that he said. But if somebody else is going to tell on him, they can use those words. They find a videotape of it, they could use those words. They just can't use the words that Tootie said on the stand against him. So the point is, the immunity is not against prosecution for a crime. The immunity is against using the words that you said on the stand against you in the prosecution of another crime. If they have other evidence that is sufficient to convict Tootie without using his words, they can still put him on trial and convict him. They just never bring up the words he said on the stand for that one time. Okay? So Tootie is still in jeopardy for a prosecution if the prosecution can prove the entire case without using the words that Tootie said on the stand. Y'all got it? So the immunity is not, you can't prosecute me. That kind of immunity exists. That's not what Tootie got. That's not what Woody got, I should say. That's not what Woody got. That's not what Quindarius Zachary got. They got the kind of immunity that says if you say something on this stand about a crime, we can't use that word against you. But if we find other evidence that's sufficient to convict you, we can use that evidence against you for sure. Okay? So the first thing I said was they can't use his words against him. That's easy for everybody to understand. There's really no additional explanation needed. You said something in the thug trial. You admitted to a crime on the stand. Now we want to prosecute you for that crime. Well, we can't use the words that you said on the stand in the thug trial. We can't then in your trial say, well, he admitted to it in the thug. No, you have immunity against that. That's the first thing. That's easy to understand. The second part of Woody's immunity is a little bit more difficult to understand, but it's still kind of easy. They can't use his words against him, but they also cannot use other evidence that they find as a result of his words. What does that mean? Tootie gets on the stand and he says, yeah, I did the crime and I threw the gun into the creek. They say, if he has use immunity, they can't use his words, but they could go look for the gun. And if they find it, they could use the gun against him. So they couldn't use the actual words, but they could use the evidence that comes from the words, if that's just use immunity. Derivative use is I can't use your words, and if your words lead me to other evidence, I can't use that other evidence either. So Woody has use, which is I can't use your words. He has derivative use. If your words lead me to, oh, shoot, I need to go look over there because he said that. When I find something else, I can't use that either because that came as a result of your words. But if your words make somebody else, not law enforcement, remember, oh, shoot, I was video recording at the beach that day. Let me check my video recording. And this person is just a civilian. And they look at their video. Oh, shoot, there's the crime. I see it. I recorded. And they give that to law enforcement. Then you're screwed. Then you're screwed because law enforcement did not go looking for that evidence. They didn't go looking for that. They didn't investigate it. A civilian, oh, shoot, he said that on the stand. Let me go. Oh, I had that in the background of my video recording. Then they just go turn that over to law enforcement. Then you're screwed. So because law enforcement did not go investigate to find that evidence. So they can't use your words. They can't use evidence that they find as a result of your words. But if somebody else unconnected to law enforcement just gives them evidence, they can use that against you and they can still convict you. All right. So hopefully that's totally clear to y'all now. So Woody does not have immunity as in he can't be prosecuted. He has immunity as in they can't use his words to prosecute him. That's the difference. Same thing with Quindarius Zachary. Okay. So hopefully all of y'all are totally clear with my animated way, of explaining that to y'all. Okay. And I guess this will be a good time to fully set out the difference between Woody's situation and why he's probably not in trouble or in danger of prosecution right now, and Mounk Tounk's situation, why he is in trouble. Woody was a free man when they called him in to testify. He was not under any kind of deal. He was not under any kind of, I don't know if he's on probation, but he wasn't under any kind of needing to make a deal with the prosecution. Quindarius Zachary was a free man when they called him in to testify. He wasn't under a deal. He didn't need a deal. He had served his time. Woody has served his time. These are just free guys walking out on the street. And the prosecution said, hey, you need to come tell us some stuff on the stand. And they're like, no. So they get arrested. I'm making it simple. I understand the details are more complicated than that. Sledge was not a free man when they wanted him to testify. He was not out and about walking around. He was an inmate in jail facing charges with this RICO. Woody was not in jail. Quindarius Zachary was not in jail. They were not facing charges with this RICO. They didn't need to make a deal. Okay? Sledge was in jail for this. He needed to make a deal. So when he so Woody didn't have a deal. There was no deal. Zachary didn't need to make a deal. There was no deal. There was no plea deal. Neither one of them needed to plead to anything because there was no charges to plead to. Sledge, on the other hand, needed to make a deal because he was in jail for this. He made a deal and then he broke it. That's why Sledge's going to prison. That's why Woody's not going to prison for this, because he was not in jail for this. That's why Zachary's not going to prison for this, because he wasn't in jail. He wasn't part of this indictment. Okay? All right, y'all, let's get it up to 200 likes. Please come on. If you have not liked, please go ahead and do like. Go ahead and do like. Nurse Fancy says, isn't state prison time only 65%? Yeah, so we were saying that earlier, Nurse Fancy. Sledge, all things going positively for him, will do under 3 years probably. Could be as few as maybe under even 2. But it's still, he's going to prison. So that's not good no matter how you slice it. We don't want to minimize the time he's going to do. We're simply comparing the time he's going to do with the time he could have done, not to minimize it, but rather to put it in perspective. Okay. And I guess on some sense, the perspective is that it's less, but it doesn't mean that it's insignificant. Sledge shouldn't have made them shirts dissing. Oh, I didn't see that. Drop a link. Jason Hodges, drop a link in the chat. If you have that link, I will bring it up so we can take a look at those shirts. I have not seen that. Read Super Chat. Did we get another one? Okay. We're going to go through and give some shine to everybody. We have Mimi, who's a new member. Y'all, what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start dropping commentary videos for members. Y'all know how much hate I got for talking. I mean, like, for real, people are like, why you keep on talking? I'm like, I thought y'all, shut up. I'm like, okay, I just won't say anything. So if y'all notice my videos, I don't talk much. It's not because I don't talk. Y'all can see I'm a talker. But people were like, why you keep on talking? This guy talks a lot. I'm like, okay, I guess you don't want me to talk. So become a member. I'll start dropping my commentary videos for members. Cammie Phillips, again, thank you for the $9.99. I'm going to read these super chats again. Do you think his lawyer would have made Mounk Tounk family come and show support? I don't know that was an option, but if it were, I do think, again, I said I think Judge Whitaker has a heart. I think Judge Whitaker has a heart, and it could have helped. I wouldn't be surprised if it would have helped. Critical conversations, his lawyer exhibited a lack of due diligence. We did go over this super chat, but again, I'm not trying to throw anybody's lawyer under the bus, but I do think it would have been heroic, correct, responsible for his lawyer to have accepted more personal responsibility in an attempt to get his client less prison time. So I agree with that. Princess Waku, thanks for the $1.99. He has a case pending about him lying on a cop. That is, I think, Woody. I think so. Y'all look at how much power, y'all. We give the state this power, y'all. We give the government this power. It is from us. It is from us. And as an example of that, take a look at Woody's current situation. Now, he was in prison or jail. I'm not sure which one. He made a statement. The statement was found to be incorrect. So they put a case on him. But if you remember, Max Sharp, when he was interviewing Woody, brought up before the jury that the prosecution had unilaterally decided not to pursue the case, but they didn't drop it. They didn't drop it as in they could never pursue it. They dropped it as in we won't pursue it for the time being. Maybe we never will. Maybe we'll come. So yes, you are correct in that if the prosecution really wanted to go at Woody, they could go pick this thing back up and go after him. That's why I keep telling y'all his immunity is not absolute. When he got immunity, like people, again, I don't know if this is true. These are reports I saw. I'm not repeating this as truth. I'm just repeating it to prove a point or to illustrate a point. People have been saying Woody is, moving in Atlanta in a certain way. And other people are like, well, that's because he got that immunity. No, his immunity doesn't help him with anything he does today. His immunity doesn't help him with anything he does today. His immunity doesn't help him with anything aside from the things that he said while he was on the stand cannot be used against him. That's it. So he's not like above the law now where he can just go out and do whatever he wants and not face any kind of prosecution. So y'all, let's be informed about this stuff. Let's be informed about the law. He can't just go do what he wants. He can't just set up a trap house and say, oh no, I got immunity. His immunity was for that trial, and for the things he said can't be used against him during that trial. Even the crimes he talked about in the trial, he could be prosecuted for if they have outside evidence outside of what he said. So he does not have some kind of like above the law immunity. I don't think he got Fed immunity. Y'all, this is the type of thing that there's certain things with this trial where the defense seems not to go into certain directions. Have y'all noticed that the defense seems to be on point, but have you felt frustrated at certain moments where you like, that was a direction it seemed like y'all could have gone. Why didn't you do anything with that? The Fed immunity was one thing where Hilton in court told the judge that Woody has federal immunity, or Hilton actually used some slippery language there. She didn't actually say he has federal immunity. She said something like he can't be prosecuted, something like that, which insinuates he has federal immunity. And as far as I know, the defense never drilled down on that to show the jury that that's just false. I don't get it, because he does not have federal immunity unless they gave him federal immunity for some reason. But why are they going to give him federal immunity? There's no documentation of that. So that was one of the things where I'm like, yo, the defense could have scored some big points impeaching the prosecution, and it didn't feel like they went into that enough. Another thing, and I think this is even more of a, I guess, stark example is with the Gaither being with the aunt. The Gaither with Garlington's aunt situation, the defense didn't even touch that. Weren't y'all all waiting for who would have been the person to go into that? Who would have been, y'all put in the chat, which defense lawyer, if they were going to bring up, were you with Garlington's aunt, who would have done it? I'm going to do, you know what? Can I do a poll? We have enough people in here to do a poll, y'all. I'm going to do a poll. Let me get my situation together. So we can do a poll. The poll is going to be, I think I can sit down now. Let me sit down so I can get myself a poll going. This is the poll, y'all. We're going to say, if the defense were going to bring up Gaither and Garlington's aunt, if they were going to do that, who would it have been? That's going to be the question. I got to get logged in. What the heck is going on? I thought I was logged in. All right, so bear with me, y'all, so I can get my situation straight, and I'm going to run this poll, and then maybe we'll wrap it up. So the question is, which defense attorney, so start getting your answers in your head, which defense attorney would have brought it up if they were going to bring it up? All right. And we all should thank Miss Lily, because she's the one that's got me doing these polls now. Miss Lily's got me making emojis. She got me doing polls. Miss Lily is hold up, sorry. Miss Lily is the chat whisperer. All right. Let me go ahead and do this poll real quick. Okay, here we go. So, all right, which attorney would have questioned Gaither about the, I'm going to put aunt situation in quote. All right, we have Sharp. We have Steele. We have Weinstein. Harvey never really, Matthews. These are the only ones who actually question. Sharp, Steele, Weinstein, and Matthews. All right, y'all, the poll is live. Everybody, give me your answer. Which attorney would have questioned Gaither about the aunt situation? If it were going to be one of the four, these are the four who normally cross-examine. I don't think I've seen Harvey cross-examine yet. Maybe it's as a result of Mr. Nichols not really being implicated very often in many of these, with many of these witnesses. I saw Westmoreland, never see it coming. Miss Westmoreland, has she even gotten up and cross-examined anybody? I don't think she's cross-examined anybody yet. Harvey be hardcore. Y'all, I would love to see Harvey. I would love to see Harvey do a cross-examination on somebody, y'all. Oh my gosh. Y'all hit the poll, hit the like if you're not a member. Once you become a member, I'm about to show y'all all of these emojis. We got the you done effed up emoji. We got the Brian Steele emoji. We got the Judge Whitaker emoji. We got the proof emoji. This is because we have somebody, I forget her name, but she comes into our chat. And yes, we do live stream, y'all. She comes into our chat, and sometimes she'll just literally just go on a proof rant and just say proof, like 1,000 times. We got the shark emoji. We got this. We might have to get rid of this emoji, y'all. This is the why does she keep getting away with this? Y'all remember Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad? Why does she keep getting away with this? This was the Miss Love exasperation emoji. Whenever she get away with something, it's like, why does she keep getting away with this? Okay. But Miss Love, this is another emoji. Miss Love is kind of, hold up now. Let me see. What the heck is happening? Miss Love has been Miss Love has been kind of X'd out. So you got the Miss Love emoji. We got the objection and the 403 emojis. We got the Weinstein emoji. I'm probably going to switch that one out. We need the side eye, the Weinstein side eye emoji. And we got the Fonnie Willis emoji. Y'all, we need more members because as we get more members, we can unlock more spaces to put more emojis. Love got demoted from her squeaky chair. We need an Adams. We 100% need an Adams emoji. We just need more members because I can't put any more emojis until we get a certain amount of members. We had a Brady emoji. We had a Wayne Brady emoji. Again, y'all, I'm limited with the number of emojis we can make until our membership count goes up. Believe it or not, I can't put another emoji in. We had a Wayne Brady emoji, but I had to replace it. Do we think Love got demoted? Hard to say. You know what? I'm going to tell y'all, excuse me, y'all. I'm a little bit stopped up right now. I'm going to tell y'all something. In legal terms, you have something, you have the idea of something being done purposefully, and you have the idea of something being done in effect. You have the idea of something being done purposefully and the idea of something being done in effect. I'm going to give you an example. This is not a slight to any of my overweight brothers and sisters. This is not, but this is a good example. Airplane seats are a certain size, right? So somebody who's too big to sit in a standard airplane seat could say and has said, people have argued, you may not be purposefully discriminating against me due to my size, but the effect of this is that I'm discriminated against. Okay, now we don't need to debate that, but the point is, if airplane seat designer said, let's make them small to discriminate, that would be purposeful. If they just make them the size they think that they should be, and there are people who just can't fit, the effect might be discrimination, even though that's not the purpose. Why do I bring that up? Miss Love seems to have been demoted in effect, whether or not she's purposefully demoted. She's not in there running the trial right now. So at least for the time being, the effect of whatever's going on with her seems to be a demotion, even if she's not technically demoted. Does that make sense to y'all? She seems to be demoted in effect, at least for now. But has she gotten a demotion at work? I don't know. You know, I have no way of knowing that. But she's not in there running the courtroom. And you have Mr. Abate, who is in there, who wasn't in there before. So it seems like there's an effect that's happened. Adorable, deplorable 7-Eleven. Thank you for becoming a miembro or miembra. Thank you so much. Y'all, we're going to look at the results of the poll. Everybody hit the like, please. Hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed. Let's see what Jason Hodges says. Mounk Tounk merch he showed on Talk That Law from 11 days ago. Let me see if I can find that. I will try to find that. Talk That Law from 11 days ago at 1 minute, 1 hour and 2 minutes. Okay. We will take a look for that from 11 days ago. Was that a live? That must have been a live. Was that a good idea? Go on. All right, I'm gonna pull that up so we can take a look at the merch. Thank you for that timestamp, Jason. I'm almost there. 1 hour and 2 minutes. I see him get there. Uh-oh. Here we go. Okay. All right. Let's take a look. Share this tab. Here we go. All right. Let's take a look.
I'm definitely gonna order one.
I got 2 shirts right now that I think I put a hood on now, but this one of the shirts, and it got a kid on the front.
Oh yeah, I like it.
And the one I got on, let me show you the back because it's a different front. It's a different writing.
Oh yeah, he dedicated. He taking it all for us. Appreciate that, man.
This the only way you can sell it.
Come on, right? You're wearing it yourself. I'm not your child.
Look what the sleeves say though.
No.
Oh, come on. I'm with it. Man, I'm with it.
Jason Hodges, big shout out to you for finding that for us. Big shout out to, I didn't watch that. Not any slight against Talk That Law. Everybody give Talk That Law a follow, a like, watch the video. Let me show y'all which one this was. Y'all want to see the full Talk That Law at Talk That Law. That was 11 days ago, as Jason pointed out. So you have this kind of mystery thing on the thumbnail. I think he was getting at, who's our mystery guest going to be. So definitely no slight at Talk That Law, but come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Sorry if that's loud in y'all ear, but come on, people. This person can they can send you to prison. Okay. I'm not saying he deserves going to prison for that. So don't misunderstand me. You people have to be very clear with what they're saying on the internet these days. And I'm not saying he should go to prison for that. But is that a good look? Is that a good look? Y'all? Was that a good look with the no love? I did not know about that. I did not know about that. I think somebody alluded to it, but I hadn't paid it much mind, and I certainly hadn't seen it. You know what I'm saying? What else can you say, y'all? What else can you say? I don't think Mounk Tounk Talk That Law was a good look. Don't poke the bear. Oh my gosh, y'all. He had critical conversations. It's not just like poking the bear incidentally. He literally had not saying that you said it's incidental, but we're just analyzing this. It's the back and forth with Miss Love that he's referring to with the I'm not your child. So that's what he's referring to. And then the no love on the sleeve. She can literally sign a piece of paper and have you go to prison. There is no need for a trial. Yes, as we saw, there's going to be a hearing, but the facts are very clear that you violated that agreement. Okay. Should have warned the court, free advertising. Dang, y'all. You know what? Woody effed the game up, y'all. Just being himself, Woody was able to become a national superstar just by being himself. And we have not seen a person do what Woody did in a long time. We haven't seen a person do what Woody did in a long time, where just by being himself and being in a role that most people would initially think would be not a villain, but but despised. He came into a despised role, and he was able to flip almost everybody immediately with his personality and charisma that is innate in him. His personality and his just innate charisma turned people who wanted to hate him into fans immediately, just on the spot. I saw it with DJ Academics. I saw him saying Woody's a rat, blah 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 blah. Then he played a few clips, and he literally, I saw the moment within like 20 minutes. He was like, I ain't gonna lie, Woody could run up a bag. He literally just changed his entire opinion right there on live on stream. This is months ago at this point, but you watched it. You watched him make a fan just being himself. Now, other people, predictably, go on to the stand and they're like, man, Woody will probably make $1 million or more due to his fame that came. He might have already, let me not talk about Woody money. Woody, I don't know how much money you made, but it's a lot of money. He goes around showing it off. So I feel like I can at least mention it, right? He go around showing it off to everybody so I can say something about it. But imagine you from the hood, you know Woody, and you like, man, he just ran up. I mean, he gonna make a million off of this for sure. You know, lifetime, if he hasn't already. And imagine you like, man, I'm about to go up there. I'm gonna have my day in court. But Mounk Tounk's agreement, his legal situation wasn't the same as Woody's legal situation. His legal situation was much different from Woody's legal situation because Mounk Tounk had prison on the line and Woody didn't. Mounk Tounk had prison on the line and Woody didn't. Clean-tastic said he already said he make $1 million. I wouldn't be surprised, y'all. I would not be surprised if Woody's already made $1 million. So imagine if he's made $1 million in 3 months. Imagine if Woody has made $1 million. He's undoubtedly made several hundred thousand. So I don't know the figure. I'm happy for him either way. But let's say he's made whatever it is. In 3 months, he's definitely cleared over 100 G's per month, average since June, 3-4 months. So imagine you one of these guys that know him and you also going to go up on the stand. But again, Mounk Tounk, he didn't have the same legal situation. And the problem is Woody was just being himself. You can't copy that charisma. You can't copy it. It's just who he is. If you know, you just can't copy it. So, but y'all, that that merch, that wasn't a good look, y'all. That wasn't a good look. Not until you get free. Not until you get free. Not until you get free of this trial. Meaning while you're on probation and you're under this agreement and stuff, you need to get off the stand and be free. Cheryl Baliki, has Woody made money from merch? I don't know where he's getting the money. I know he's done a number of interviews and stuff. I know he's made a decent amount of money with interviews. But Charleston White has said he and Woody made $50,000 together in 1 week. So if you believe that, I don't know what that's from. I know he's done 20 V1s. I think they pay $10,000 or $20,000 a piece or something. I don't know how much they pay exactly. He certainly hasn't done no 50 of them, so I don't know where the million would come from, but he's making it some kind of way. He's probably, you know what he's probably doing? He's probably doing a lot of appearances. He probably get 5,000, 10,000 or what have you to go to a club or something. He probably gets money for an interview. He gets money for 20 V1s. All of that stuff wrapped up. He does have some music out. He has some merch So I imagine once you lump it all together from different sources, he has a team working with him. You know, he did the no jumper interview. They probably gave him, you know, whatever. So his team is bringing him these opportunities, or working on these opportunities for him. But I don't have any inside knowledge on that. He has been paid 6 figures to sit down for at least 3 different interviews. Do you mean 6 figures a piece? Or do you mean 6 figures combined? Woody said he lied. He admitted it already. Yeah, Woody called himself a liar. How much per interview? I think Woody, I don't know. I don't know. If I were going to try to get Woody on this channel for an interview during the height of it, you know, I don't know. I've never paid anybody for an interview, but it's something I would certainly be interested in if it made sense. Mounk Tounk definitely was talking like he still didn't belong. Yeah. That shirt just blew me, y'all. I'm not going to lie. Because you could have made a shirt that didn't have anything to do with your interaction with Ms. Love. Y'all feel me? The I'm Not Your Child shirt is about his interaction with Ms. Love. He could have made a shirt that was about his testimony, but not going at Ms. Love. Would it have made a difference? Who knows, y'all? Who knows if it would have made a difference? You know, he still would have been locked up and all that stuff. Maybe. I mean, but still don't do that. Charleston White said on one of his videos that Woody made $100,000 with him. Yeah, so if we're gonna take Charleston White's word for it, he's cleared 6 figures. Holly died. He's made $1 million, y'all. I would say if he hasn't made $1 million, he's done an average of $100,000 a month since June to July to August, September. I would say he's done $300,000-$400,000. I don't know. I'm not pocket watching him. Only reason I'm talking about Woody's money is because, again, we're thinking about Mounk Tounk and these shirts. And the idea that, you know, you have to imagine he was influenced by Woody and saying, you know, can I get some of that? That's really the only reason we're talking about Woody's money. I'm happy for Woody, y'all. I think Woody's a tremendous natural talent. I think Woody's a tremendous natural talent, and I'm happy for him. All right, y'all. Let's get in Weinstein. Let's get Weinstein alive next week. You know, I've been a little hesitant to reach out. Weinstein has done a lot of lives. I imagine he would probably do it. I haven't interviewed anybody. I would certainly like to bring the best of me to such an interview. If anybody has any connection with any of the lawyers, y'all, believe it or not, I know somebody. I'm not going to give any names, but I personally know somebody who has personal acquaintance. So I have 1 degree of separation from one of the prosecutors. I know somebody who told me, yeah, I know one of those prosecutors, like personally, like, yeah, that's my people's. But prosecutors can't do interviews as far as I know, or else that would be the person I would be most interested in getting on, but I don't think they could do that. I would love to speak to Weinstein. I would love to speak to Sharp. I haven't seen Brian Steele do any interviews. I'd love to speak to him. I've seen him do interviews, but outside of the trial. Vera says, I'm going to give this, try to be balanced. Vera says, keep Thug in jail. Vera, if you want to give some explanation for that, I'll be happy to put it on the screen because we're trying to give a little bit of balance here. Bring them to the live. Yeah, I would love to. Oh, by the way, y'all, hold up. Y'all, I'm gonna start. So since we kind of getting a little bit of a group, a little bit of a following here, I'm actually gonna start some merch, y'all. but something cool. Like I'll be showing you my Paralegal Institute mug. This is an old design from before I was involved. It's just laying around, so I use it every day. I try to use it every day. So we'll probably do a little bit of merch like this, like some coffee mugs and some tumblers and stuff like that. Miss Lily has recommended that we be the truth sleuths. The truth sleuths. Bit of a tongue twister. But yeah, I think we'll do a little bit of merch. I don't think I'm going to do anything specific to the trial. I don't think I would feel quite comfortable doing that. But the truth sleuths, something like that, you know. Vera is a okay. If we get any trollish behavior, we'll certainly block. Got it. Okay, cool. The truth sleuths. So we'll be having some merch like that. Still is too busy to grab. Yo, I'm gonna tell y'all a few things since we still have a nice little group here. Our paralegal program does an internship, and I've debated for a while, should we reach out to some of these firms and offer them an intern? Because our students have to do internships. So that's something I've been thinking about. You know, I've been wondering. I've debated about it because I'm trying to stay somewhat neutral, and it seems like that would be getting a little too close to everything, particularly if they were to accept. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to drop a link. Hold up. I'm going to drop a Calendly link before I go. Y'all, we're about to start a new paralegal, not a new program. We're going to start a new class. So if you are interested in the legal field, you can certainly get in touch with us, get on the Calendly. We'll have a paralegal career counseling with yours truly. Y'all, I'm one of the best people in the world to help you get in the legal field, paralegal in particular, if that's what you want to do. So hit the link if you would like, set that up with me. There is a charge for that, for the one-on-one, because if I don't put any charge to it, people will book and then they don't show up. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, y'all, we've been going for almost 2 hours. Let's go for a few more minutes to hit the 2 hour mark. So I'm just going to kind of summarize here. Yeah, we're here every Monday. We'll be here Monday morning at 8:15, 8:30-ish. So that's one. Please do hit the like, comment, subscribe. So we are doing the live stream. Cheryl Balicki, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for the super. I do try to bring a different perspective, y'all. Little bit of ranting, loud talking, little bit of, little bit of my own opinion, my wild personality, etc., etc. Which one of the people did Woody say he birthed? So y'all remember there are two Lil D's. You have Lil D from Mechanicsville. Hold me tighter. Lil D from Mechanicsville is Demekion Garlington. That's the one that Woody says he birthed. Demekion Garlington, Lil D. You also have Lil D from Cleveland. That's Quindarius Zachary. They were all friends, but I think Woody was closer to Garlington. All right, y'all. Before we go, just to fill in a little bit more time so I can say I did that exact 2 hours. Let's take a look at Twitter. Take a look at a bit of Twitter.
I've been saying for a week or so now that this probation hearing was going to really let us know the way that she truly feels. If she felt like this entire case was a waste of time, that there was no proof to it, that there was nothing substantive, that it was just chasing rainbows or whatever by the state, then I don't believe she would have viewed the violation of this plea agreement as serious as she did, because she viewed it very seriously, and she slapped him pretty good. 5 years for a probation violation for essentially making a false statement, even though it's making a false statement under oath. That's a pretty serious penalty. So what I believe that this tells us is that the judge is not anywhere near as close to granting a mistrial as maybe we all thought she was just a couple of days ago.
Okay, y'all. I agree with this. I agree with this man. By the way, this is KZ that posted it on Twitter, on X. I agree 100% with everything he just said. I said something similar before this. I didn't take it to the full extent of what he said, but I said this is going to tell us this is going to give us a good indication of her disposition about this trial. And I believe this was a spot on. I mean, again, this take agrees with me, or I agree with it. We agree independently. So of course I'm going to think this is spot on, but 100%. Judge Whitaker wants this case to go to a jury. It is clear that she does. I do not have anything negative to say about Judge Whitaker. I think Judge Whitaker has done an effective job at keeping this thing on the rails. People think she's corrupt. I haven't seen anything that I think is corruption, but I have seen some things that seems like she is controlling. All right, let me just talk about a specific example. We all saw when she blew up on Miss Love, she took a break. She came back and she was calm. Talking about Judge Whitaker. She absolutely blew up on Miss Love. She took a break and she came back and she was calm. We do not know what she did during that break, but whatever it was effective. Because she came back and she was just, it was all woosah away. And so if I'm agreeing with Keith, the lawyer, I think that was one of those moments where you saw Whitaker blow up and you say, oh, what's coming next? What's she going to do? What's she going to do? And when she came back, not only did she not do anything, but she didn't even announce she wasn't going to do anything. She just continued with the trial. She was just, it was just all gone. And so there have been many moments, Mr. Keith, the lawyer, this being Mounk Tounk's hearing being one of them, a couple of blow-ups by Judge Whitaker being predecessors to this, where you say, oh, what's she going to do now? And she doesn't do anything. So it's clear Whitaker wants this to go to a jury verdict. Does she believe that the state is winning this case? Y'all, I don't think anybody even knows. It's not even clear what it would mean to win this case because there's so many different charges. You have 6 different defendants. What does it mean to win? That should be another live that we do. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. You know what? That would be, see, these are the kind of lives, y'all, where somebody like Weinstein would be good to have on the live. To ask the question, we know what it means for the defendant to win. It means not going to prison. Even if you get convicted and you get no prison time, you kind of won. So, right? So, however you just avoid prison, you won. What would it mean for the state to win? Because it's almost certain that they will not get a guilty on all counts kind of verdict. That doesn't even seem like it's in the cards for the state. So whatever it means for the state to win would have to mean something less than guilty on all counts for all of the defendants, because they're not going to get that most likely. So we don't even know what the state really would consider a win. A lot of people, including DJ Academics, including AK-47. So I say a lot of people, I'm citing these two. They feel that the state will consider it a win just to keep some of these guys off the street for 2-3 years, even if they get a not guilty verdict or mistrial. They'll be able to like, yo, we kept Atlanta streets safe for 3 years while we did this trial, so we won. People were safe. So that would be certainly moving the goalpost, in my opinion. So I don't even know what it would mean for the state to win. So to judge who's winning and who's losing, you know, it's hard to judge because we don't really know what the state's measure of winning is. But with that said, the defense seems to feel that they themselves are winning. And I would think Judge Whitaker probably agrees with that. If she had to come down on a side, I imagine she can't. But if she had to, she would probably say the state is not winning. Even if she didn't say the defense is winning, she'd probably say the state is not winning this. I would imagine. Dav, $7.99 super chat, I believe. Definitely appreciate that. Y'all, all the super chats, all of the memberships, all of the support, all of the likes, all of the comments, highly appreciated. I wonder if Fonnie talked that. Well, that's what I don't want to speculate about, because that seems like it would be inappropriate as it relates to the trial. Patrice says she's biased, not corrupt. Thank you for that, Patrice. Thank you for that. Y'all, we need to be careful calling people corrupt, okay? We need to be careful calling people corrupt. We really need to be careful using the word corrupt. Biased is a much more appropriate word if you want to criticize Judge Whitaker. I'm not using it personally, but I think it's a word that I'm sure she would disagree with, but that it belongs in the conversation. It has a place. I shouldn't say it belongs. It has a place in the conversation. But corrupt is a very serious accusation. Okay, so let's just remember that. It's a very serious accusation. Bias is corrupt for a judge. I get that. Let's put it to you like this, Matt. You can be biased, but act in an unbiased fashion. You can be personally biased, but you can act in an unbiased fashion. You can't be corrupt and act in an uncorrupt fashion, because biased is a disposition where corrupt is an action. So you can have a biased disposition, but a fair action. You can't have a corrupt disposition, but a fair action, because corrupt in and of itself is an action. So in other words, I have 2 daughters. I can have a bias to one of my daughters, but I can ensure that I give them the same thing outwardly, even though inwardly, and I don't prefer one of my daughters, but just if I did, I can recognize that and I can say, oh man, I have a preference for her, so I'm going to make sure all of my actions, as far as what I give them, is equal. But if I'm a corrupt father, I can't treat them equally, because my nature, my nature and my outward actions are both wrong. That's the way I'm parsing it in my mind. So if we were to say a judge is biased, that doesn't mean that they are necessarily acting in a biased way. Now, I get it. Well, how would we even know if they're biased except for judging them from their actions? So this is a little bit of philosophy, kind of philosophical here. But my point is, I think judges are typically biased toward the state in general. I went to law school. I went to law school, and I'll never forget a judge saying that judges sentence black people more harshly than white people. This is the judge saying it. And the judge said, We try to correct it. We have done everything we can, but we haven't been able to correct it, and we can't figure out why. Now, I'm not one of these people that's going to talk to you a lot about race, so don't worry. I'm not that guy. Okay, if we have to have that conversation, we can have it, but this is not the day, and that's not my shtick. But I'm bringing this up for a reason, because the judge was saying, this is his words. He said, we're biased against this group of people. We don't know why. We just can't figure it out. We've tried, etc. Okay. So I do think that human bias is going to come into play regardless. But you have to try to act outwardly in an unbiased fashion, even though we all are going to have biases. Corruption, on the other hand, I would feel very, very disheartened to say we're all corrupt, even though I think we would all agree we're all biased in one way or another. So the judge's job is to set aside his or her bias and judge fairly. You can't set aside corruption. If you're corrupt, that's it. It's over. So that would be my take on the bias versus corrupt thing. All right. That's how I look at it. Yes, hold me tighter. I agree. Thank you, everybody, for spending your morning with us. So, y'all, you're getting a little bit of my personality. This is a lot more talking than I normally do because, of course, we're normally watching court. A defense attorney was trying to keep 2 autopsy photos out, saying they were being presented for the gruesome fact of Whitaker buckled up and said, y'all, he's a child that was shot. You could hear outrage. And Whitaker's a real person, y'all. And everybody who's seen Glanville, if you would rather Glanville come back, somebody come on here and say Glanville should come back. All right. Yeah. What about that one? Keeping them off street for 2 or 3 years is disingenuous when they leave people like Woody on the street who have proven body counts. Okay. Again, be rich. A lot of times people hear me express an opinion and you think it's my opinion. Maybe you're not saying that, but I'm just saying this for in general. Academics and AK-47 said that they think that might be the outcome and that the prosecution might try to claim a win for that. I'm not saying I think that would be a win. I'm really, I don't even know if AK-47 and AC are saying they think it would be a win. They are saying that the prosecution may try to spin that into a win. Okay, so that's really their take. Does that make sense? You can be both biased and corrupt. I agree with that. We do. Whitaker is biased and Love is corrupt. Okay. I'm not going to say anything about that. I hope y'all rock with me being a little bit less accusatory than some of the other people. Again, I like watching the people who crash out, who talk, who don't mind saying such and such is this and such is that. But we are paralegal school at the end of the day, y'all. Like, honestly, my day job, even though I'm streaming with y'all, we're teaching people paralegal ethics. We're teaching people how to work in the legal field. So I really am limited. Personally, I'm self-limited. Professionally, I'm self-limited as to some of the accusations that I would like to make against people. Okay? I think slandering people, I link slandering people, but this is a respectful platform. Some feel it. For sure, she seems biased, though she's going to come down on the state, but never does. I will say, and I'm perfectly happy saying I think there were moments she could have been tougher on the state. I would have liked to have seen it. It would have been warranted. But y'all want to know something? I'm going to tell y'all one thing. And this is something I haven't, y'all got to give Judge Page. If you're going to give her the bad, you got to give her the good. What she did with Detective Dennis was one of the harshest things that she could have done in this trial. On a scale from 1 to 10, what she did with Detective Dennis was a 7 in severity, 7, 8. What she did with Detective Dennis was a 7 or 8 out of 10 in severity. The only things I can think of that would have been more severe would have been disqualifying a prosecutor, or that would have been a 9, or calling a mistrial, which would have been a 10. Morning, baby. My daughter just waved at me. So if we're gonna say Whitaker could have gone harder, let's also acknowledge that her disqualifying detective dentist this week was the equivalent of, if killing somebody is the worst you could do, a 10, and the R word is like the second worst you could do to somebody, a 9. What she did was like beat somebody with a baseball bat, like with the dentist thing. Like that wasn't no little thing, y'all. Disqualifying detective dentist from ever coming back to the trial, getting rid of all of his testimony from that day, getting rid of his evidence from that day, taking the jury's notes and burning it. That was a 7, 7.5, 8 out of 10 in severity. So let's not say that the prosecution has always gotten away with it. You could have said that as of last week. But as of this week, she gave them a slap. And that wasn't a slap. She gave them a roundhouse donkey kick to the gut. Okay? So you have to give her her credit too. What she did right. And that was something that, and the crazy thing, that wasn't even Hilton's fault. That's the wild thing about it. She was really more punishing Dennis than she was really going at Dennis, because Hilton didn't have that. That wasn't Hilton's fault. That wasn't Hilton's fault. That was Dennis's fault. But at any rate, so can we all agree? Can we all agree that if we're going to criticize Paige for not going that extra step, that was the extra step that you all wanted to see? I mean, if you wanted to see a mistrial, if you wanted to see Love or Hilton get disqualified, okay, fine. But the lead detective on the case, who built the case, who built his career off of the case, or at least in part, who has testified multiple times, was literally permanently banned from the trial. So you have to give her credit. You got to give her credit for that one. Judge is tired. She had to do something. We don't know if they conspired, but okay. Y'all, you got to give her credit for that one. Okay. Now, has she let a lot of stuff slide? Yes. Have I been frustrated with her? Yes. Have I thought, man, this lady's never going to do anything? The reason I never got to that point is because I knew the prosecution was going to keep effing up. And I knew eventually Judge Whitaker was going to have to do something. And I'm going to tell y'all something else. You know what? They're going to do something else again. This is their modus operandi. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is the way they are. This is how they act. This is what they do. No, it's not enough. Is that Monet? Are you saying that getting rid of Dennis is not enough? Maybe it's not enough. But but I'm not so much talking about the enoughness of it. If you're referring to what I'm talking about, I'm not saying is it enough. I'm saying, is it a severe action? I'm saying, what is the severity of the action? It was very severe. Was it enough? Maybe not. But it was severe. That's my point. Okay. So we can I'm not even gonna say I disagree with whether it was enough, because my thought process hadn't really gone to was it enough. My thought process is, of all the actions she could take, how severe is this? And this to me was a 7 to 8 out of 10 in severity. It was very severe. Think about being a juror. You have this tall, I don't want to say like well-presented guy who you've seen so many times. He's kind of lanking in there like, I know everything. I've done everything. I've been everywhere. I know all about the gangs. He's just kind of sauntering in there and pointing out, yeah, this is what happened here and this. And then all of a sudden, objection, Your Honor. And you come back and Your Honor saying, that guy who just sauntered in here with, as Weinstein said, his deep sonorous voice, that guy? Yeah, he's gone. And everything he said, I want you to forget it. What is the effect on the jury when you see this guy saunter in laughing? They said they caught him down bad. Well, what does that mean? You don't know what down bad means? You must be down bad. I'm just, I'm exaggerating, but and then this guy who's certainly on a bit of a swag. He got his swagger on with the way he's doing his testimony. Everybody gets called out, and when we come back in, the judge says, the swaggy guy, I want you to forget everything he just said. We're going to take your notes. We're going to burn them. And everything he said didn't happen. So, Monet, when you say it's not enough, I just want, again, I'm not saying it is, but it is a lot. It's a lot. Okay? Sassy, I hope I'm saying that right, experience. It was a 7 slap into a page, let them reintroduce all of Dennis' stuff to another witness. That made her hit moot, credit removed. She's okay. Good point. See, this is why I like the give and take, y'all. This is so good. This is excellent. I love this point, and I'm glad you brought it up. And there is no rebuttal. There's no rebuttal. You make a very good point. I don't know that. The only thing I will say as of now is the woman who's bringing in this testimony has not gotten into it yet. Dennis didn't really even get to finish getting into it. So, point taken. Thank you for the super. You very well spent $5, because I'm gonna totally agree with you. It was a 7. I said 7 to 8, but okay, we'll go with 7 until Judge Page. But you know what, y'all? Dennis had a certain kind of, I'm gonna use the word charisma again. He had a certain kind of charisma. You see him on the videos. You see him on the videos interrogating Woody. You see him on the videos interrogating different suspects. He is somewhat of a decorated detective. And I think he just had a certain kind of presentation that we haven't seen a lot of this new lady yet, so I'm not going to prejudge, but we'll see. But it's hard to replicate. If you notice with a lot of the people who they've brought in, black, white, male, female, tall, short, they haven't had the same charisma. Think about all the officers who've testified. Think about the cell phone records, people who've testified. Think about the men. Think about the women. Think about the white people. Think about the black people. Most people don't have that a type of charisma but I think Dennis had some of that, and that is more persuasive than another person saying the same thing with less charisma, in my opinion. So while I think you are correct that this lady will probably say similar stuff to what Dennis was going to say, if not the same thing, the presentation of it will matter in the eyes of in the receptivity of the jury. But if we're just going to deal with your actual claim here, that Page just basically kind of slapped them, but then let them do an end around anyway and do the same thing they wanted to do. Point taken, and you are correct. Okay, she even if the lady is not as effective at presenting the information, she may be more effective at the end of the day. We don't know because we haven't seen it yet. But you are right. Page did let them do the end around. What's interesting is I was watching Weinstein briefly yesterday. Y'all want to check out? There's another podcast where Weinstein was on, and it seemed like he said, let me see if I can find this real quick. I know I said we will be ending, but frankly, my wife is out of town, y'all. And so I basically don't have anything else to do. So I can sit here for a little bit longer and I can talk to y'all. I can talk to y'all because I'm home. Well, I'm not home alone. I'm not strictly alone, but I'm kind of home alone because my wife has left me. She left me here by myself. All right, let me, I'm going to present this to y'all. Give credit where credit is due. This is the Justice Served podcast. say Weinstein. Let's watch a little.
Your Honor, this one you cannot fix. This is bad character.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I thought what Weinstein said here was that the penalty was that they couldn't bring this evidence in through somebody else. So let's watch this briefly. Justice served. By the way, y'all, let's give them their credit. This is justice served. Okay. Doug Weinstein, they just streamed this last night. I want to see. I think he said they couldn't bring this evidence in. I didn't hear her say that, but I think he said that. So let's see.
For evidence that came in, the state should have
Let's
prepared their witness. I move for a mistrial. This absolutely cannot be unheard by the jury. It was heard clear as day in his deep, sonorous voice. They have heard it. They have absorbed it. It cannot be fixed. 404A, Your Honor.
Here, whatever response the state might be able to make on that.
Your Honor, that was not the state's intention.
I'm sure it wasn't.
Your Honor, that wasn't even, that response didn't even come across my mind. That
Let me see
that would even come
something.
out of our witness's mouth, Your Honor. The state's intention was to solely talk about the vehicle that he was standing.
Y'all, I'm gonna pull up the transcript so I can read this. I can read it a lot faster. I'm looking for a specific moment. Let me see. Here we are at 4 minutes. Let me see. Gives an opportunity. Investigator surprisingly wasn't aware of that. Blah blah blah. Listen. What was the intention? I believe it happened. I'm gonna give y'all 15 minutes. Okay, that's still.
I'm wrong. Dennis decided to add that, oh, by the way, that picture was taken right after Mr. Kendrick got out of prison.
Right. He threw that in there. I think people watching on the feed, there was some issue with audio, so they didn't really,
That's right.
or y'all were probably watching as well, didn't know what had actually happened. So yeah, that is what happened. I conceded that I don't believe the state intended to elicit that testimony. Probably shouldn't have done that, but live and learn. But, you know, I don't know why he said it. All I can think of, it was kind of a big FU to my client. That he was going to try to say this, see what happened. He knows he's not supposed to say it. And that's kind of one of the reasons I was so upset. But you saw the judge's resolution of this. Of course, I didn't get my mistrial. And really, maybe that's for the best, because I would have only wanted one with prejudice. Having conceded that the state did not intend to do that, it may have been a tough point to argue prejudice. But having not gotten the mistrial, I was pleased with the sanction she laid on the state.
Which was, Doug, what was it? It was
Okay, hold up. I'm gonna slow this down. So he said I was pleased with the sanction. Now this goes back to Sassy Experiences Super Chat. Now listen to what Doug Weinstein is gonna say is the sanction, y'all. And tell me if I'm wrong. It sounds like it's exactly what Sassy has said, that she allowed this evidence to come in through somebody else. I understood what Doug is saying here. I must have misunderstood. Let's see what he says.
related to Dennis never getting back into that courtroom. Tell us what it was.
Yeah. And let's talk about who Investigator Dennis is for a minute. I mean, he was really the central investigator throughout all of the shootings that took place in 2015 that the state alleges were retaliatory shootings after the murder of Donovan Thomas. So he's a central figure from a law enforcement perspective of the state putting on their case. So what happened was the judge said, okay, and by the way, this is like the second or third time he testified in this case. The judge said, that's it. We're done with Dennis. He will not be testifying anymore in this case. And then Brian Steele jumped up and said, well, this was great from Brian. You know,
Y'all, Brian Steele is the man. This was a Brian Steele move.
again, it's a team game here. Brian Steele jumped up and said, well, you know, if he's not going to testify, we're not going to have the opportunity to cross him, which is, of course, our constitutional right. Judge is like, well, you're right. It's all struck. All his testimony from today is struck. And that was testimony about the alleged back and forth on the shootings. There was a lot of tough testimony that came in from Dennis.
Right, I think, can I just interrupt you? I think someone said that he was the one that was supposed to hold it all together, bring it all together.
He was the one that was supposed to piece everything together. I think Gaither tried to do that a little bit earlier, but it was really Dennis that was supposed to piece it all together. His getting thrown out was a huge win for us. And then the judge also said, look, not only is it thrown out, but you cannot add witnesses to your witness list who aren't already on there to go and testify about the things that Dennis was supposed to testify to. And for example, one of the things Dennis was supposed to testify to are the
Okay, so Sassy. So while I'm not disputing your point, listen to what Weinstein just said. So we want to give, I mean, again, I'm trying to be fair and balanced, y'all. She said you can't add anybody onto your witness list to replace Dennis. Now, it sounds like this lady, and I don't remember her name or I would use it, sounds like she must have already been on the list. So therefore, she can talk about whatever she's qualified to talk about. So, you know, Judge Page is not going to say, no, you can't testify to this if you're qualified to do so. But she did prohibit them from going out to find somebody to replace Dennis. So this was a very significant ruling. This was a very significant ruling. Not only did she disqualify Dennis, his testimony, and the exhibits he used. I don't know if she disqualified someone else from using those exhibits, but she also said you can't go get somebody else to replace him who's not already on the witness list. So hopefully, Sassy experience with you having heard that, you know, maybe that will modify your opinion somewhat. Maybe that'll modify your opinion somewhat. Was she an expert like Dennis, though? Nobody is an expert like Dennis because he's supposed to be able to not only be a gang expert, but also he is the person who did the investigation, the initial investigation on this case, on YSL. I didn't catch that either, Cheryl, but that's why I wanted to play what Weinstein said because I saw this last night. So again, shout out again to the
lyrics in the case,
to the Justice Served channel. Let's listen to a little bit more of this. Y'all, I'm going to give them a thumbs up. Everybody, if you want to go over there, pop over there to their channel, give them a thumbs up because they hopefully graciously allowed us to use this little clip. Let's listen to a little more.
So, you know, of course, you know, what she gives with one hand, she takes away from the other.
Okay, Sassy, this is your part. So you get your redemption. You get your redemption. Hit the like button. Y'all hit the like button. Hit the like button. So Sassy, this is the redemption where Weinstein's going to give you your redemption.
So what happened today is the state put on another, I believe, retired law enforcement officer, Underwood, who was supposed to only be testifying about shell casings matching each other in various crimes that occurred. And instead, she's testifying to a lot of this. So if you were watching this afternoon, you saw just constant objections to cumulative, just all kinds of things. We were at the bench all the time because, again, this wasn't the testimony that was supposed to be elicited from her. So they're getting some of it back in, but I don't think she'll be able to have, and I'm not saying Dennis was credible because I don't think he was, but the same degree, she's not up there speaking in that voice of God that Dennis speaks in.
So y'all, when you heard me talk about Dennis being charismatic, part of that is influenced by Weinstein, honestly, because he's in the court and he has a more he has a better perspective on everything than I do. And yeah, so as you can see, Sassy, you were right, then you were wrong, but then at the end, you got the win. You were right. At the end, Weinstein ultimately agreed with you because he just said, hey, this lady was not supposed to testify about this, and she was supposed to talk about some shell casings. They flipped the script, brought her, they did the end around. They said, hey, can you also qualify as a lyrics expert? And she like, maybe. Let me not do that to Miss Underwood. Miss Underwood, I'm sorry, I don't know you. But, you know, just dramatizing the moment. And so Miss Underwood, who does seem to be highly qualified, you know, based on what her representation, but apparently that was not what she was going to come in to do. The problem with the experts is their info comes from the sidelines, not from the field. It's like people who give orders from armchairs to people with their boots on the ground. So, Queen, this is what I'm going to say. And I said this yesterday. We are a paralegal program, y'all. Okay. And the reason I say that is because we're a certificate program. if you come to our program, you're going to find that things are very similar, though not the same, but very similar to other paralegal programs. We have a curriculum. We have a syllabus. You have a certain course of study that you follow. You have quizzes. You have homework. You have a final exam. Our program has an internship. Most programs don't, but we do. But that's how you earn a certificate. You follow a course of study. The problem with calling these people gang and lyric experts is there is no standardization or even, how do you, is there a degree in that? Did you get that degree? Is there a minor in that or a major of that? Is there a certificate in this? Is there a school you can go to study this? Did you write a book about it? Did you publish the book? Have universities or colleges adopted the book in their curriculum? Like, that's how we typically judge an expert in our culture. We don't usually judge an expert by, I grew up around it and I watched movies. I'm not an English expert. If I go to Japan, I might be considered an English expert because I know more than most of them. But I'm not an English expert in my own community because I have not gotten the correct credentials to be considered an English expert. So what Attorney Adams was arguing yesterday is, what was the curriculum that Dennis followed, that he graduated from, that he completed, that was meant to produce an expert in this thing? And Dennis was like, well, I grew up in a neighborhood where this was around me, and I've been around it for all my life, and I've seen movies and blah blah blah. Fine. But the way we judge experts in our culture, in our country, typically is due to a course of study. There's like three main ways you can be an expert, a true expert. Course of study that you complete. If you write a book about something that is then adopted, or you write a book, a manual, etc., that is then adopted and used to teach other people, even if you didn't complete the course of study, if you write the study material and it's adopted, you can be considered an expert. If you take the course of study and you pass it, you can be considered an expert. Or if you invent the entire field, then you are the expert because it's the field you made up. So you can write the course materials that other people use for the course of study. You can take and pass the course of study, or you can be the person who invented the whole course of study from scratch. Those are three ways that I can think of that you can be considered an expert in America. One way you cannot usually be considered an expert is growing up around something. Simply growing up around something is not enough. You might have an expert level knowledge, but you don't have the expert designation because you have not passed the course of study. The way the court rules who is an expert is ridiculous. Every cop in the gang unit is, all of them are experts. All of them are experts. That's exactly right. All right, y'all. We did 2 hours and 40 minutes. Practically, we maintained a very healthy and respectable 300 to 400 people on the live. I really thank y'all for being here with me. I hope y'all are learning something. Y'all are certainly teaching me something. At the end of the day, sassy experience. I don't know where you went. You must have just dropped your comment and just bounced, but I do appreciate it. Let me give a shout out again to everybody who has financially contributed. We have a new member, Mimi. We have Cammie Phillips. We have Critical Conversations. We have Princess Waku. We have another new member, Adorable Deplorable. We have Cheryl Baliki. We have Dab, and we have Sassy Experience. I thank y'all. I might do a live tomorrow. I'm still home alone. I'm still home all alone, y'all. So I have to figure out something to do. So be here with y'all is better than getting in trouble, right? So I plan to be back at any rate on Monday morning. And y'all support the videos. And yeah, I thank y'all. So y'all have a good Saturday. And I really do highly appreciate you spending your Saturday morning with me. I'm humbled by this. It's excellent. And have a good weekend. And we'll see y'all either tomorrow or Monday. Be safe. Bye-bye.